only a report that came out of the UK yesterday where they, for some reason, they seem to be able to put more figures or statistics around the consequences of the lockdown over there, and it's not been the same sort of lockdown, or it has been, but it hasn't been as successful. If you read all, but the loss of productivity in the construction industry during this phase of the lockdown in the UK is around about 15%.
Yeah.
So whilst they've kept, and it's the same for us, whilst they've kept most of their industry open, although I think there's parts of the UK, Scotland might have almost shut down entirely, where we've done the same thing. We've kept most of our, the construction industry going. There's still been a loss of productivity, and at some point in time, that's got the potential to catch up on contractors, because principals may well start holding liquidated damages and delay costs against contractors for that sort of thing. And as you'd probably be aware, that's the sort of thing that catches out contractors big time, particularly if they've gone in with skinny margins.
And look, I think that's a very real risk. You're going to see a big shift in the motivation for investors, whether it be joint ventures or principals or even government projects, making a change in how they're considering what projects to take forward, which ones to put on hold, and how they're going to deal with their contractors and those contractors dealing with their subcontractors around. The worst case scenario is that you have an outbreak on your construction site, which we know has happened. Those sites get shut down for 2 weeks. 2 weeks is sometimes the difference between, making a profit or not. But more importantly, your ability to stay on site. If you lose that traction, those 2 weeks are the difference. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think government projects will be a little bit different because the government's going to be more mindful around the policy and the strategy that it takes, because their mandate is to support economy and to support the business process. I.e. they're going to keep their contractors on by negotiation. They're going to either waive or defer their rights around LDs because they want to make sure that they're being the model corporate citizen or the model regulatory body around making sure that the contractors aren't, suffering a detriment as a result of something that's well and truly out of their control if the site gets shut down for COVID reasons. How the private entity deals with it, I think we're going to suspect that there's going to be a little bit more of a bottom line approach where they're going to be very mindful of making sure that their own margins are protected. And if you're on the short end of that stick and therefore you end up getting lumped with LDs because of delays on site attached to that, I'd be interested to see whether anyone who's getting contracts in place now, whether they're incorporating any provisions in their contracts to account for what could potentially be delays that are well and truly outside their control, and whether there's going to be specific COVID related releases or waivers in there to give that kind of relief on a contractor, because they will be the ones that end up wearing the cost.